Indiana basketball just lost 79-59 to Purdue here at Mackey. I'm Drew Osmer, this is Tyler Staley. Another edition of the Postgame Wrap-Up presented by HoosierIllustrated.com. Tyler, just really disappointing effort today. I mean, Trey Galloway kind of talked about it after the game. He expected a different result, a different type of energy, and it really was very similar to the first game where Indiana suffered a 20-point loss.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and honestly, Indiana started off pretty well. I would say probably the first 8 minutes of the game. You know, they were competing, they were fighting, but you always knew that punch was always going to come from Purdue, and I even tweeted it out. It's like, the punch is going to come. It depends on how Indiana responds. That'll tell the game. Indiana didn't respond, and Purdue kept punching, and then there was nothing left. But, I mean, just from a bigger perspective here, a rivalry game, it is a little lopsided when you compare both teams. Purdue's one of the best teams in the nation.
Yeah.
Indiana's been struggling off and on all season long, very inconsistent team. But when you look at the rivalry standpoint of it is, you got to play with pride if you're Indiana, and that matters with every single rivalry there is in any sport. You got to play with pride, and you got to know that this is your biggest rival, and you're going into their house. You got to play your best basketball, but lacked intensity. Trey Galloway said it lacked intensity, lacked focus. It's just pathetic at this point. It really is. So, really not much more you can say with it. It's just embarrassing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's go just to the history. I mean, the last time Indiana basketball lost 2 games by 20 points to Purdue in the same year, the 1933-1934 season, 90 years ago. It's, Mike Woodson said in the presser, yeah, he thought they kind of been on the same level, beat them 3 of the last 4 heading this year, but this year it was embarrassment after embarrassment, and now the question kind of turns to, where does Indiana basketball go from here? They're sitting, I believe, 14-10. I guess really don't have that signature win that you need if you're going to be a bubble team. So what does Indiana basketball have to do to, I guess, salvage your season, or is it a lost cause at this point?
I mean, it's really close to a lost cause. Just from an NCAA tournament standpoint, obviously there's a lot more to play with. You still got the Big Ten tournament, and there are 7 more games left. So when you look at that, a lot of basketball left. But we've been saying there's a lot of basketball for a while, and then there's been opportunities for Indiana to take advantage of those and get a signature win, and they just don't have one. That quad 1 win over Ohio State, even if it still is a quad 1 win, probably not going to help them at all. 4 of their last 3 games of the regular season are at home, so that's good. But at the same time, they've proven at times where home may not be the best advantage for them. You know, it's just, this team's really struggled. Mike Woodson mentioned it, and he's not using it as an excuse, and he said that multiple times, so I don't want to get twisted or anything, but this team is young. Not having Xavier Johnson, even though he's not been, you know, the X that you kind of wanted to when he's on the floor, it's been difficult for them, and it's a very uneven constructed roster, and it's catching up to them, and it caught up to them pretty quickly tonight. So you just got to play with pride at the rest of the season, and you got to realize that, hey, there's 7 more games left. We can make some noise down the road and, you know, set up some momentum heading into the Big Ten tournament, and then come March, we'll just see what happens with that team. But right now, it's gloomy days in Bloomington.
Yeah, I mean, Woodson mentioned it. It's a young team, but he's been saying that all year. It's February. You have 7 games left in the season. That can't be an excuse at this point of the year. I mean, if Indiana basketball was going to do anything, Woodson knew. He knew this was a young team coming in. He had that expectation, and it's always, they need to get better. They need to keep working, keep doing this, and it's still feels like it's the same place they were at the start of the year with all these issues that continue to recur, especially the 3-point shooter. And then you mentioned pride. Tonight, didn't really feel like a game they came out with pride. I mean, they had a chance to get a statement victory, a statement performance. And after those first 10 minutes, Indiana was in the game, and then offense been stagnant, everything kind of just went out the window. Turnovers, just bad fouls, just lack of discipline, and just really poor effort.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of, you know, what can Woodson say at this point, other than, you know, his team's not as good as what he wanted them to be. But, I mean, at the end of the day, even though it is frustrating to hear over and over again, the only thing they can do right now is just continue to work. It really is. And right now, you just kind of go with the rest of the season and just see what happens at this point if you're an Indiana fan. Yeah. But, obviously, I've said it a little bit on our podcast. This is a learning season for Mike Woodson, I think. Probably a much-needed one as well. So, we'll head into the off season, obviously next month, and we'll see what happens. But as of right now, Indiana's got 7 games left, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Indiana basketball has 8 days off before they take on Northwestern in their next game this year. I guess a chance for Woodson to kind of reset and refocus and try to get this team, I guess, to finish the season on the right track. For Hoosier Illustrated, I'm Drew Rosenberg, to Tyler Staley. Thanks for watching this edition of the Hoosier Illustrated Postgame Wrap-Up.